Hello and welcome. You're watching Eye on Africa. I'm Clarisse Fortuné. Coming up on the program. Felix Tshisekedi says that he would accept a third term if the people want it, following a constitutional referendum. DR Congo's president was holding his first press conference in more than 2 years. French court orders the resumption of an almost 2-decade investigation into accusations that the widow of Rwanda's former president Juvenal Habyarimana was involved in the 1994 genocide. And new allegations of secret detentions and abuse are emerging from Burkina Faso, where authorities are accused of holding a prominent investigative journalist and dozens of others in a covert facility. Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi gave his first press conference in over 2 years on Wednesday. He spoke about the war in the East and hinted strongly that he could remain in office beyond his second term. Have a listen.
I will make myself available to my successor, and I won't take up arms against him. I will remain at the disposal of the Republic. I will step back in order to honor him, but I will remain in the shadows, ready to serve as soon as I'm needed. And I think that this is the way that we have to look at things. What are the good elements of this constitution? Should we keep it or not? And what prevents us from considering these questions? But what we shouldn't do is link this exercise to a third mandate. I never asked for a third mandate. But let me tell you, if the people want me to stay for a third term, I will accept.
And Emmett Livingstone is in Kinshasa and has more.
In a wide-ranging press conference on Wednesday, Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi suggested he might remain in power beyond his second presidential term. It was the first time Tshisekedi has spoken to the press since 2024, and since then huge events have taken place in Congo, such as the fall of Goma to M23 rebels. The president admitted that the Congolese army had been weak, but he promised that the situation was improving. He added that Congo's new alliance with the US was also changing the situation. But many of the questions focused on the president's own political future, amid growing momentum in his party for him to change the constitution. Congo's constitution allows for 2 presidential terms. Changing it could allow Tshisekedi to stay in office beyond his final term. He told reporters that while he doesn't want to cling to power, should the Congolese people desire it, he will stay. Tshisekedi also said that as long as the war continues in the east, his fight will continue. Many will see this as an unambiguous sign that Tshisekedi is planning to extend his stay in office.
The investigation has already lasted 19 years and will have to continue. The French courts overturned the dismissal issued in 2025 and ordered further investigations into the possible involvement of Agathe Habyarimana in the 1994 genocide in Rwanda. The case had been dismissed over insufficient evidence. Laurence Bercégère.
19 years after the start of the probe, the case against Agathe Habyarimana's potential implication in the Rwandan genocide is set to continue. The French judiciary on Wednesday ordered the resumption of the investigation into the former Rwandan First Lady a year after it was dismissed by judges over insufficient evidence. The decision was hailed by the International Federation for Human Rights, one of the main plaintiffs in the case.
It is with great satisfaction that we finally receive a favorable decision. That's really the main thing. This is a victory for truth.
The widow of former Rwandan President Juvenal Habyarimana, whose assassination in 1994 triggered the genocide against the Tutsi, is accused of having played a central role in orchestrating the massacre. Plaintiffs allege she was a core member of the Akazu, an opaque organization described as central to the Hutu power structure, which planned and organized the mass killings. The former First Lady, who's been living in France for more than 30 years, has repeatedly rejected the accusations, describing herself as a stay-at-home mom far removed from politics. The investigation began in 2007, but Habyarimana was never formally indicted. something which the plaintiffs, including France's National Counter-Terrorism Prosecutor's Office, have repeatedly called for.
Burkinabe investigative journalist Atiana Serge Oulon was taken from his home in June 2024 by armed men. 4 months later, the Ministry of Justice said that several journalists, including Oulon, had been conscripted into the army and sent to the front. Now, Reporters Without Borders says he was in fact abducted, with former detainees describing harsh conditions, including beatings and ill treatment. Arnaud Froger is RSF's head of the investigations desk, and he joins us now. Welcome, Arnaud. So, what evidence has RSF gathered that suggests that Atiana Serge Oulon is being secretly detained rather than serving in the army?
Well, you know, we took the words of the authorities for granted, or for what they were. Actually, we thought that he could actually have been deployed like others have been from the civil society, including actually a journalist. But actually, by investigating the matter, we discovered that he was not deployed to the front. He has not been at any time from the very beginning, and at least until the end of last year, 2025. And we discovered that through many corroborating testimonies, that he was in fact being held in a secret prison in a villa that is located actually right near the U.S. embassy in Ouagadougou. So we managed to gather enough evidence, enough corroborating testimonies to place him at this location. And we also know for a fact that he has been enduring several abuses since he was detained.
So what can you tell us about Oulon? So why would he be targeted by authorities?
Well, you know, Serge Oulon is one of the most famous journalists in Burkina Faso. He's working for very prominent media outlets, L'Événement. He's very committed to what he's doing in terms of journalism. So when the junta took power a few years back, he kept doing journalism as he used to do. So he was investigating several things: the jihadist attacks in the country, embezzlement cases as well, including with the implication of people from the junta. He was releasing papers about this. So there was lots of reason for the junta to get to him. He is one of the most prominent figures in terms of journalism in Burkina Faso. So it's no surprise really that he was targeted. Many journalists have been, and he is, one of the leading journalists in Burkina Faso.
And you also say that members of the junta's inner circle may be involved. So how high up does this responsibility go?
Well, it's very clear, according to our investigation, that the authorities are not only fully aware of what happened to Serge Oulon, but they are actually the main actors behind it. The neighborhood in which he's kept at the moment is kept and is held actually by the junta itself. He's under close surveillance of guards and military personnel that are directly connected to the junta. One of the closest head to the leader of the junta is actually debriefing the people that are kept in these villas when they are about to be released. So the implication of the junta and what happened to him so far is very obvious, and it's been widely documented.
So do you have any indication where he might be now?
We think it is very likely that he's still kept in the same neighborhood. Our information goes as far as the end of 2025, so I cannot be 100% positive that he's still kept there. But we have no reason to believe he has been moved, and we have no reason to believe that he was deployed to the front line. We actually think that his condition, given the circumstances, you have to imagine that this guy has been detained for nearly 2 years now. kept in the dark for the most part, because the windows of the rooms that have been turned into cells have been sealed. He's been under several abuses, so there is no possibility for him to be deployed at any time, and we still believe that he's actually kept in the same villa, or at least in the same neighborhood. They are using several villas in this neighborhood, and that they have turned into makeshift prison and secret prison.
And quickly, Arnaud, if you may, did you get any reactions from the government?
No, we tried to. We tried hard. As every time that we're trying to reveal or to denounce something, we're trying to get in touch with the ruling authorities. We've been trying to get to the Ministry of Communication on several occasions, but it's been very hard in terms of public communication. Only in 2 occasions they have talked about this. They don't talk about it. They don't want to respond about it. They don't want to have anything to do about it. But now they have to face the reality. What they say officially contradicts the facts that we have been able to put together. So we hope that by denouncing that, they will, make a public statement at some point, or at least, give some second thought to what they've been doing to Serge Oulon for nearly 2 years now.
Thank you very much, Arnaud Froger, RSF's head of the investigations desk. Now, in other news, in brief, Ivory Coast government has dissolved the country's electoral commission, the CEI, amid ongoing criticism over its independence and handling of elections. Officials say the move is aimed at restoring confidence in the voting process and paving the way for a new system ahead of future polls. But opposition groups have long accused the body of favoring the ruling party, and government has yet to decide what structure will replace the CEI. Boko Haram militants have attacked a military base in Chad, killing at least 23 security personnel and injuring 26 others. Chad's army says it had repelled the attack, which took place on Monday night in the Lake Chad region. Boko Haram militants have since 2009 extended their reach from northeast Nigeria to western Chad, where attacks on military installations have become frequent. Chad President Mahamat Idris Deby has condemned the attack. And to Nigeria, where authorities have taken a social media influencer to court for criticizing the military over poor rations for troops fighting in the country's northeast. Chijibere Justice Mark, known only as Justice Crack, shared videos he said showed complaints from soldiers in Borno State describing their meals as inadequate. Soldiers have complained in the past over poor conditions and equipment. Security services say the claims are false and could incite unrest, while the army has suggested the posts were aimed at creating discontent among troops amid a long-running insurgency. Eastern Central African Republic has been scarred by years of armed conflict, with as many as 20 armed groups operating in the region during the peak of the civil war between 2013 and 2018. Today, an NGO is helping former child soldiers rebuild their lives, offering vocational training and psychological support after years of trauma.
Inside this classroom in Eastern Central African Republic, dozens of hands meticulously measure, cut and sew large pieces of fabric together. Aged 14 to 17, these teenagers share a tragic story. They were all captured by various armed groups and forced to serve as child soldiers or sex slaves. A profoundly traumatic experience from which they're now trying to heal.
Sewing is a good opportunity for me. It relaxes my mind. It's very soothing. And I've been able to earn a little money with what I've learned.
In order to help these teenagers move on from their violent pasts, the Espérance NGO provides psychological support and professional training. A way for them to reintegrate society by learning a new trade and to focus on the future. This 16-year-old, who spent over 18 months in the clutches of the UPC rebel group, just finished training as a baker. And while he's still haunted by his past, he's slowly beginning to turn the page.
We are like servants to them. We had to work all day long without getting any rest. I still feel stigmatized by others in the village, but thanks to this training program, I'm smiling again. I've met people who have helped me develop new skills.
The NGO, which is partially financed by UNICEF, helped train over 50 children last year. Yet it remains a small drop in the ocean in a country where some 2,000 child soldiers are still being held by armed groups.
And this concludes this edition of Eye on Africa. Thank you for watching.